Thank you to Verda Tarbell. Verda and I go a long ways back. In fact, when I mention a little church in my testimony here about Bethany Union, Verda's family were members at Bethany Union as well. And not only that, my sister married her brother. They've made a shirt for dogs called a thunder shirt, so it quells their anxiety and thunder and all of that. And I would have worn our dogs, but it was too small. I guess I don't need to tell you my name is Jackie, but it's Langeloh, because people don't know how to pronounce it. My husband Ray and I had been members of this church since March of 1958, although the first several years were at Upland Bible Church, which merged with Foothill Baptist Church 30 years ago and now is Foothill Bible Church. How many times do you think it takes to write a 5-minute sharing on God's grace in your life? Well, this is my 6th effort, and I'm still feeling lacking. Before I became a Christian at 16, God had graced me with a good family, guided our move from the Midwest, and even our steps from Pomona to Upland, where our house was around the corner from a small church named Bethany Union, which I had just mentioned. By his grace, at 16, I became a Christian, and shortly he led me to Psalm 27:14, which taught me to wait on the Lord. Wait on the Lord, be of good courage, and he shall strengthen thine heart. Because I was snubbed at a church picnic by my first boyfriend, I was taking solace in the scriptures. Sometimes we're not aware of his grace working in our life at the time, but need days, weeks, or even years to realize how he was shaping us. Forgive me, Lord, for being a slow learner. Although I knew the verse did not say I would get back with the scoundrel, that boyfriend who snubbed me became my husband. Thank goodness he wasn't a scoundrel by then. Okay. And that was 4 years later. He became my husband, and God graced us with 3 boys and a girl. But now to the present time. At 1 o'clock in the morning on October 28th, he woke me up to say he needed to go to the hospital because his blood pressure was too high. Because it was still pandemic rules, I had to wait outside the hospital until I finally asked to find out what was going on. They ended up taking me into emergency. Shortly after, they were surrounding him with doctors, and the crash cart was brought in. They almost lost him while I watched. A cardiac doctor later asked if he had had heart attacks before. Before, never. During the next few days, I tried to take him things that I thought he could use but was not allowed in, and I'm sure some of you had the same experience during those days. Many prayers went up on his behalf. We have been graced with a wonderful church family and friends. His health did not allow him to have various procedures they wanted to do. A week later, he was in a type of emergency room in pain, and the doctor had confused him completely with questions that had to do with the end-of-life decisions. That doctor called me to see if I agreed with his decision. Yes, we both had no resuscitation on file. Shortly, I had a call from a nurse asking if I would like to come see him. It made it sound like he was leaving us. Our son Rick, daughter Wendy and her husband and I raced to the hospital. When we got there, we found him very confused and in pain from a medication drip that he no longer needed. Just by having us there 2 at a time and asking questions of the staff, he was able to be taken off that drip and returned to a normal room. And 6 days later, we were able to bring him home with oxygen. Praise God, he was home with family. And so many of the patients would have done so much better had the families been allowed to be in. However, God in his grace allowed us 5.5 weeks to care for him with the aid of a part-time caretaker and enjoy him as he seemed to get stronger and was walking unaided with a walker. Then came the days when he could not lift his leg to the edge of the bed and was too weak to walk. He agreed to go on hospice, but on December 20th of 2022, in the early hours of the morning, he very peacefully slipped away as Kevin and I were bedside with him. The immediate family gathered around the bed and shared stories while we waited for the officials to arrive. Do we miss him? Very much. But would we wish him back? Never. Because of God's grace, we know where Ray is, and we will join him someday. Because of God's grace, Ray was able to see the care his family gave to him and would also be there for me when my time comes. We had 66 plus years together. It was by his grace that God brought together a girl born in the Midwest with a missionary kid born in Panama and was with them through everything. Thank you.